sanitary or phytosanitary measures. Entering into consultations for the purpose of achieving bilateral and multilateral agreement. We all know that there are some agreements which are bilateral and multilateral. So, if all state parties they enter into agreements, they are achieving on those recognition of the equivalence of specified sanitary and phytosanitary measures. So this too, as you can see, is well explained katika hii annex. And the other part is what this annex provided to us. It's provided for state parties to follow the procedures for determining the equivalence of sanitary or phytosanitary measures developed by the WTO, SPS, Committee, and other international bodies. As the even professor explained previously, alisema ya kwamba what we have adopted these procedures of SPS and the TBT from the WTO. Hata pia katika hii annex sasa ndio wameielezea the procedures of determining the equivalence of sanitary developed by as you can see. The other point is it says that state parties to cooperate in the development of harmonization of SPS measures based on international standards, guidelines, and the recommendations taking into account the harmonization of SPS measures at the regional level. This means that all state parties, I'm talking about all 54 countries which has been into this African Continental Free Trade area region, they have to cooperate for the purpose of development and harmonization of SPS measures, all those which are based on international standards. We know that there are international standards and international standards. So for the purpose of this annex, it says that you have to develop and harmonize those which are in international because you are trading with different countries. As well as the other point says that the state parties to establish harmonized sanitary or phytosanitary impact requirements for a commodity if they jointly identify a commodity as a priority. You know, there are commodities. We heard that there are commodities, they are into different categories. So this one is with respect to those which are priorities. They say that all state parties they have to establish harmonized sanitary or sanitary the requirements. I mean SPS requirements for them. The other point is importing state party to carry out an auditor or verification or both of all parts of the control. You know, some can ignore the audit or verification that has been done from the other state parties. So, according to this annex, it says that when you are importing that product from the other country, if the exporter, the importer, or the one who is exporting, because all those documents are all those documents, the one who is working on it, and they are from the exporting country. So your importing country has to accept them because you have harmonized them. The other point is says that importing state party to carry out an audit or verification or both of all parts of the control program of the competent authority of the exporting state party. You know, this is about the human health, animal, and the plant life as we have seen previously. So, your country as the importing one, because if you are importing, if you are importing from other country to this one, because we know here we have some other traders. So here in our country, they have to carry out an audit of I think a lot of this we have discussed previously. Maybe we have anything that with regards to this one, ICSS, we can discuss.
Hiyo ya mwisho nataka kuelewa kidogo. Yaani tuseme kwamba TBS atoke hapa aende Nigeria, audit TBS ya Nigeria, kuhakikisha kwamba wana competence ya kupitisha hicho kitu tunacholeta kwetu. Is that what you are saying? When it says importing state, let's say tuna import vitu kutoka Nigeria au Tanzania, to carry out an audit or verification or both of all or part of the control program of the competent authority, let's say competent authority in TBS of Nigeria, of exporting state funds. Is that what is expected? And, is that really going to work?
The meaning of this one, to carry out, it means that the audit has been carried out by the exporter. So you have to take it as it is. That is how it means.
No, carry out an audit, carry out an audit. You do it yourself.
Professor, can you help us on this?
No, it is importing state, but there's kind. Yes,
The importing, you do the audit in the exporting part.
Yeah, thank you. So the idea is just so that countries are able to maintain confidence in implementation of this annex. So an importing state party that has doubt about the standards of an exporting state party can actually initiate an audit or a verification at its own cost. Yes, at its own cost. So if the importing state party, if it's Tanzania that is importing and the exporter is Nigeria, Tanzania thinks that this is an important import source. It wants to ascertain the SPS standards of measures that are maintained in Nigeria. It goes to the competent authority of Nigeria to undertake verification. So that after that verification, they are certain of what to do. You may understand this in the context of, these entities involving milk. There are so many around our countries. Ugandan milk in particular has lots of problems. Kenyan milk has lots of problems. In fact, one of the longest standing entities is between Kenya and Zambia over Kenyan milk getting into Zambia. So Zambia has had to inspect the competent authorities of Kenya. But even after the inspection, at its own cost, Zambia has never accepted Kenyan milk into Zambia. So you can look at those issues. You can figure out those who know the issues around Uganda milk and Tanzania. There are issues around it as well, which may necessitate Tanzania to undertake a physical verification. Yes, even Uganda can have the same issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. And this we have experienced here in Tanzania, especially from my organization, in the A to Z, through certificate of origin. If they want to prove the origin, that if it's true or we just cooked. A lot or so many times they come here and we go to A to Z, and then they go to do re-verification for the product so that they can get assurance of what we get proof for them.
Labda kama alivyosema wengi, of course tunapoanza kunakuwa na lot of challenges. Mimi naiona ni challenge kubwa sana, kwa sababu huku exporting country, si tuna haki ya kuverify kwa our auditors ambao wanaweza wakawa wako kwenye mlengo mmoja, na inategemeana wao na vigezo gani vya auditing, na inaweza kawa njia kusabotage tu kwamba wanakuja wana disqualify bidhaa zenu au sisi tuna disqualify za kwao. Mimi nazungumza hivyo kwa sababu tume experience a lot of problems. Ukija ukipeleka labda nje na wao wakicheki umepata findings hapa, na wao tunaenda kucheki, sometimes unakuta hazimatch, ingawa nyinyi pengine mnaona ziko okay, lakini wala kufanya verification na nyinyi pengine mkija kufanya huku mnakuta. Kwa hiyo that will be a major problem. Lakini kwa vyote lazima mfanye checking, kwa sababu how do you trust mtu ame-export kule kitu bidhaa akaleta hapa? Lazima mfanye verification, kwa sababu anaweza kaleta kwa you never know.
Asante, bosi wangu kutoka Kioo. Tutakutana naye sana kwenye NTVs nyingi ambazo unakuta wanakuja wanafanya, zingine tunarudi kufanya verification, unakuta ndio vitu kama hivyo. Kwa hiyo anachoongea ni kitu ambacho wame experience na wanakuonyesha tu kwenye biashara. Ndio maana NTVs haziwezi kaisha. Tutajadili kuhusu NTV kesho, sababu kuna wengi hapa wana experience za NTV. Tunao na kazi, tunao hapa mzee kutoka Kioo Kaponi. Tunao wengi, they have experience, we have a lot of NTVs.
Labda kuongezea, when we are talking of sanitary and sanitary measures, they are supposed to be scientific, scientifically proved. Yeah, because it must be there. If now there is allegation which is not scientific, that is then you can say this is non-tariff barriers, because you have to come up with an approach where you are saying scientifically this is not justifiable. But if scientifically it's justifiable, that's where we call it sanitary and sanitary measures. But if you find that that measure is unnecessary, delaying the trade, delaying the export or something like that, then you will call it as non-tariff barriers. And from there now, you will address by using another annex. But if it is scientifically justifiable, then I think it is SPS. And I think it is a role of the importing country, because maybe they are protecting their people, the animal, the plant. That's why it's justifiable.
Thank you.
Most of these things, SPS, utakuta kama walivyosema maziwa, lazima kuna big shots ambao wanafanya hii trade. Na wakishaingilia kufanya hiyo trade, hata kama mta verify mara ngapi, the decision will be not accepted to enter in our country. And this is what is being played in EAC. Again, inapofika verification, Kenya wanasema tusiingize maziwa. And then unawaambia kwamba kama mnataka kufanya verification at your own cost. Hapo ndio mmechemsha. They won't come with their own cost, kwa sababu wanajua what they are doing. Kwamba waliban why? Waliban kwamba kuna big shots are playing on that business. Now then unawaambia kwamba waende hata verify on their own cost. They won't come. They won't come. Utapeleka maziwa, and that's what walikuwa wanatafuta, upeleki maziwa na hawatakuja, then the business is there. Sasa exporter anakuwa yuko kwenye dilemma, anailaumu serikali, kwa nini hii verification isifanyike ili maziwa yangu yaende kule? Serikali haiwezi kukuambia bwana hiyo ni biashara ya mtu mmoja mkubwa. They won't take it, but they know. Asante.
Asante. Nataka kuelewa professor. They say that we have to harmonize sanitary and phytosanitary and all the requirements. Then wanasema you can go and do verification. It means that they don't trust the other part, or what does it mean? for these 2 points, even if I'm the one who is telling about it. I'm doubting. Why there is this one and this one? They are not my words. I picked that from the argument. That's why I'm asking Professor.
There's really no conflict there. You see, the fact that you harmonize doesn't mean that you verify, that you don't verify. Verification is something that happens from time to time, so that you're certain that you're still maintaining the measures you agreed on. So there's really no conflict. You see, the importing country is the one that is trying to protect its people, or plant life, or animal health. And you have agreed that we shall maintain certain distance. So you have to, from time to time, you do what is called a peer review of the institutions to confirm that we are still maintaining the same standards.
Thank you.
And to add, they are not going to verify the product. If you read that, they are going to verify auditing the program of exporting country. It's like what we are talking about, the peer review, where now the competent authority in the importing country, they come and they say, okay, for example, we are importing a lot of milk from Kenya. And Tanzania say, okay, since we are importing a lot of milk from Kenya, and we have interest of the health of Tanzanian citizens, we need to go to Kenya and look how their SPS program regarding the milk is being applied. From there, they are satisfied. They say, okay, maybe I think the program is okay. We can continue accepting the milk from Kenya. It's not the matter of saying it is a particular product has been denied. Now we are going to verify. That is another issue. That is now we are talking of non-tariff barriers, where you say, I have complied with the SPS, but I export, I have all the document, country X refuse. Why? They are not accepting the certificate, the documentation. That's where now you come up with a verification mission. And this is actually take place in EAC, where like a rule of origin. And you know why they are doing that? Because in EAC, the trade remedy committees, which is supposed to handle dispute settlement issues, including rule of origin, is not working. The committee is there. The committee is supposed to be formed. They had a challenge with the protocol on customs union, where they are mentioned the members should be 9, and each country should appoint 3. Then when Rwanda and Burundi came, they say, we are talking of 3 countries, we are now 5 countries. How this article will apply? We say we need to amend the article. It has taken more than 5 years to amend the article and the protocol and form the committee, which is supposed to deal with those issues. But currently, on rule of origin, when they refuse, the revenue authority actually come up with a verification mission. They say, okay, Tanzania, you are refusing that this product does not qualify as originating from Kenya. Please come and check the company. Then you can satisfy yourself if that product qualifies. That's why we do verification mission. But here we are talking of the program, not the product, program.
Thank you, Adrian. What lesson did you get from here? The road to heaven is not that much more. I think there is no any easy thing. Yaani changamoto ni nyingi, lakini tusikatishane tamaa. Yaani hivyo vitu vinawezekana. Ndio maana government yetu imesema ya kwamba wata make control for these initial exports. So we go to other annex, which is Annex 8, and it's about the transit. As we can see here, at this from this protocol of goods, this is among those issues we have to know, because goods cannot be in other country without getting transferred or any means of it getting into the other country. It says that state parties to grant all transit traffic freedom to traverse their respective territory by any means of transport suitable for that purpose when coming from those stages. They say that. So the state parties, those are the parties who are into the African Continental Trade 54 countries. It means that if the goods are traveling, it's a freedom to travel from one country to another, all three countries. The state parties all shall grant all traffic. They said for that purpose, when coming from a state party or bound to one, or third parties and bound to other state parties. And the other state parties and bound to third countries, or third parties and bound to third parties, which means any state party has to take this responsibility in order to make this traverse. Then it says that state parties undertake not to levy any import or export duties on the transit traffic, but it may levy administrative or service charges equivalent to service rendered. State parties, as we know, if it is passes to your territories, you have to undertake not to levy any import or export duties on the transit. This is, I think we got it earlier that if the Adrian, I think explained it that if the cargo is going to Rwanda and is passing Tanzania, you have to undertake notice to levy until it reaches destination. State parties undertake to ensure that there shall be no discrimination in the treatment of persons, goods, and the means of transport coming from or bound to state parties, and that rates and tariffs for the use of their facilities by other state parties shall not be less favorable than those according to their own traffic. We have seen that most favored nation, non-discrimination of goods. If you are treating your own goods from your country, you have to treat the same goods that are coming from other territories. So this one has been well explained for those who are in transporting business. They know that you are going to third country, maybe you are passing other territories, so they have to take responsibility the same as they take theirs. Okay. We are going to the last one.
Maybe to explain a little bit when we are talking of parties, state parties, and third parties. State parties are those parties to the agreement. It means those countries in Africa which have ratified the agreement. But actually, when we are talking of third parties, we are talking of the country which are not party to the agreement. For example, you have imported your product from Dubai. You get your maybe landlocked country can give you, for example, Central Africa or Burundi or Rwanda. When your cargo are coming, they must pass other African countries. So they know this cargo is not belonging to my country, but is going to a state which is party to Africa Continental Free Trade Area. So you are supposed to give the rights as a transit, which you know your goods is passing your country. So you are not supposed actually to charge any administrative cost, saying, okay, this cargo is passing here, you have to pay duty or something like that. Because this is coming from the third parties, but it's going to country which is your partner. That's the difference between third parties and state parties. So if, for example, state party now, you find, for example, your cargo is moving from Tanzania to another country, but is supposed to pass to another country. For example, you want to export it to DRC, and maybe you are using road transport. You know, we don't have any land boundary with DRC. So maybe you have to pass Zambia. Zambia need to know this cargo is coming from Tanzania, is going to DRC. And this is transit cargo. It's not going to land in your country, but you have to give them the right to pass as a transit until it reaches to Zambia. So that's one of the issue which we need to deal with. And given the fact that most of the African countries are landlocked, for landlocked country, although when you are talking of landlocked, some people actually say that you are talking in a negative way. For them, they want those countries which are more open, they call themselves landlocked country. Yes, you know, any challenge come up with opportunities. For them, they call themselves land linked. They are linked with other countries, not locked. Because locked is negative way of thinking when you are talking of trade. So, so they are very sensitive in terms of cost. Because I will give you, for example, like Rwanda, for example, when they are importing, when you are declaring, you will declare as destination Mombasa, isn't it? But there is a lot of cost from Mombasa all the way to Kigali. You get it? So they are very sensitive in terms on how we are treating their transit goods because of the cost they think they will incur compared with you who are very close to the ocean. So this one is very, very important for them, those land-linked or landlocked countries. Karibu.
Asante Adrian. Nafikiri tumeelewa landlocked and landlinked. Of course kwa lugha nyepesi ni kwamba kuna nchi ambazo hazina wanasema bahari, wana zile nyingine zina bahari. Kwa hiyo kama zinaleta bidhaa zake kupitia port, sasa yule analeta anampelekea Kongo DRC, yeye ni landlocked, yeye amejilock katika huko, yani hawezi
Congo is not landlocked.
Anyway,
The eastern part of Congo is because it's very large. That's why we consider it the eastern part. But the western one, they are close to the ocean, Atlantic Ocean. But for us, because they use that port, what we consider them as landlocked, but it is only the eastern part of DRC.
Kupitia hii annex nafikiri tunaweza kuona ya kwamba hili soko ni jepesi, sio ngumu. Na maanisha nini? Kwa sababu wameshatwambia during transit, wamesema parties they have to grant all traffic, freedom to traverse. Nyingine akasema parties has undertake no levy of any import or export duty on the transit traffic. Ukiangalia those are the issues ambazo before unaweza ukapita hapa kuelekea Cameroon, nchi utakazopita when you are using a road, zote lazima utoe import duties, levies and the other things. But for the this African Continental Free Trade Area, yani you can traverse all the African countries without until you reach your destination, as long as your documents zinaelezea kwamba you are going direct to this country. So any question with regards to this, Alexi? Anyone? Any view? Any comments? Any complaint?
Actually, if you read really clear what they are saying, state part undertake not to levy any import or export duties on transit traffic, but may levy administrative or service charge equivalent to service rendered. If the country has provided some services, they can come up with the administrative fee equivalent to the service which they rendered. For example, for those lorries, the transit lorry, if there is any services the country has rendered, you will charge them. You get it? Because, for example, I will give a very good example. The way trans truck actually are licensed is different from the other truck, because you have to be registered by revenue authorities, because you are carrying a cargo which has a lot of tax in it, and maybe you can offload that cargo in somewhere, and revenue authority, they need to be very aware if that cargo actually has moved from their country to another territory. That's why you find, for example, in EAC, we have what we call electronic cargo tracking system. And if you have been embedded with that electronic cargo tracking system, the revenue authority can tell you you have to pay for this one, because we want to make sure that once you leave our territory, you go to another country, we are sure that this cargo, which you didn't pay tax, should not be offloaded or smuggled in our country. That's why they are talking about they may levy administrative or service charge equivalent to service rendered. And this is a very big challenge in our, we can say, in our countries, or in EAC. Most of the trade facilitation agents actually render, they charge without considering the services they have offered. I will give you an example. For example, I was talking with someone who was talking about issue of atomic energy, which is in Arusha. If you wanted to export something, they say, okay, we have to check if there's no radiation or something like that. You get it? And sometimes, I don't know nowadays, long time ago, even there is another agency, government government chemist. I remember a long time we used to advocate that they should charge according to the service rendered. You are importing, for example, I'm just giving an example. You are importing cement, and they say they have to check. Someone, you are importing maybe 1,000 tons. Another guy is importing 50 tons. And for them, when they are testing, they will come, they will check, they will take just sample, isn't it, for testing. But they will say you pay according to the value of your consignment. And you wonder how my value of consignment is relating to the service of testing. You get it? So here you are told the service you have rendered is, when you are charging the administrative, should be the same. It's like you are saying you are not allowed to put the administrative or service charges in ad valorem, where they say because you have import 1x, you have to pay 0.2% of your consignment. This actually is wrong. And that's why I say private sector now, you need to push, for example, even under WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement, that's the one of the agreement that if trade facilitation agency is charging administrative fees or service charge, it should be equivalent to the service rendered. It's not supposed to be ad valorem or percentage of the value of goods. When I keep telling people, for example, there is another interesting tax in Tanzania and some EAC. They call it import declaration form. It's there. It says 0.0 of the value of goods. But the form, it is only the form, the cost of the form, no valuation. And you wonder, if I'm importing Mercedes Benz and someone is importing ICT, the form is the same, isn't it? Why should one pay for Mercedes Benz more and I import that declaration different from someone is importing another consignment? So it's supposed to be fixed according to the service which has been rendered. Back to you.
Thank you. And I'm always encouraging you that no matter there are some challenges, but we can say through it, those another one if everyone they are from EAC, but we are doing better at EAC. So don't scared for the African continental trade. It is the same as doing business. Kama unafanya tu unapeleka Mwanza, unapeleka Arusha or any other cities of Tanzania. Then we go to the last the good thing is no one has left from this one since morning. People are serious.
Thank you. My question is necessarily as such. We've spoken a lot about how these countries have adopted this agreement in their countries, so which means that these provisions exist in these countries. So my question is, there's a lot of discussion that came forth whereby there's a disconnect between the provisions that exist and the implementation on the ground. So how does private sector understand in which countries is there that disconnect? For example, here we talk about state parties granting, freedom to traverse through the states. So which means, as according to the conversations we just previously had, there might be countries in which this probably doesn't exist. Is it because maybe there are additional documents that need to be put into place in order for this to happen? For example, the PS talked about the national strategy for Tanzania. Does it mean that some things cannot happen until these documents are passed forward? Or does it mean that if a country is ratified, then all of these are a given? I hope I'm understood. But secondly, lastly, there's all of these conversations we talk about the AfCFTA also provide to digital trade and digital likes of things. Thank you.
For me, I'm well understood, but I think this is the professorial question. Let me present.
Thank you. Those are very, very important questions. So maybe so that we don't confuse matters. Some of these terms we use are legal, and so they have specific meanings. Yeah, so maybe we just forgot to tell you that from the onset. So you see, when you say a state party, that means a country that has ratified the agreement and deposited the instrument of ratification, which means it's now legally bound to implement obligations under the AfCFTA. But there are countries that have ratified the agreement, but they have not deposited the instrument of ratification. They are not called state parties. They're just called countries. Now, in EAC, when you have ratified the agreement establishing EAC, you are called a partner state, not a country, partner state. So that means you're legally bound to implement obligations. Now, in COMESA, when a country has deposited the instrument of ratification, they're called member states. So in EAC, it's a partner state, in COMESA, it's a member state, at the AfCFTA level, it's a state party. So that means that every time we talk about a state party, it's a country that is now bound to implement obligations. Now, there are background documents that every country needs to put in place for it to be able to implement obligations. For instance, a country has to domesticate this agreement so that it becomes part of the national laws. So before you do that, you find it difficult to implement the agreement because there are legal issues around the agreement. And two, countries are developing national implementation strategies for the AfCFTA because that then allows you to know what to do to reach your objectives as a country. So that is the important question in that respect. So Tanzania is yet to finalize the national implementation strategy for AfCFTA. Kenya and Rwanda and Burundi have finalized. But there's also an AfCFTA implementation strategy for the region. And the one for EAC was developed last year, but it's being revised. So that revision for the EAC is on hold because Tanzania has to first finalize the national strategy for it to provide an input for the regional strategy. So that means that countries that have started to implement, I guess, I'm not sure, I guess that is the reason Tanzania is slow to start the guided trade engagement. It's waiting for the national strategy to be finalized. I just think. But Rwanda has the strategy on the ground. Rwanda has domesticated the agreement. Kenya has domesticated the agreement. They have the national strategy. I hope that helps. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Now we go to the Annex 9, which is about trade remedies. We all know that there are remedies that the government is doing in order to protect its domestic industries or domestic production. It says that at this annex, it says that trade remedies are trade policy tools that allow governments to take action against imports which are causing material injury to domestic industry. If any import that can harm the domestic industry, the domestic production that produce, this is there is a tool that most of the government they put on so that to protect its industries. With the when we see at this annex, they said that at African Continental Free Trade Area, or World Trade Organization (WTO), they identified these trade remedies into three primary types of them. The first one is safeguard. At the safeguard, there is also classified into three areas. The first one is global. These global are those trade remedies that can happen globally. The second one is a preferential trade remedy. These are those which are applied as the preferential applied within the context of preferential area, like this one that can apply at the African Continental Trade. And the third one is provisional. These they call them temporary. They are temporary because they are they say that relief from import charges. The second one, trade remedies, is anti-dumping duties. We all know that anti-dumping is unfairly low prices. People, they can import into your country and they reduce the price so that this can harm your products which are within your country. So this one. The other one, the third one, as I said, there are three, is countervailing duties. These are the subsidies that a country can put to its producers. Its producers to subsidies their products. So these are the three primary types of trade remedies that a country can put. At this annex, they have we have also I have highlighted also the conditions for imposing safeguards. As I said that there is the first one safeguards, and now I have highlighted it with respect to those articles. It says that the first one, African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, three conditions must be satisfied before imposing safeguard measures. We have to understand that there are conditions you can't just put. So under this agreement, we have given the conditions. The first one, you must find a recent increase in import volume that was unforeseen and is the result of trade concessions. If there is trade concession, you have to find what is the recent increase, the recent one. So you are accepted to impose that one. The second one is must find that the increased imports have caused or threatened to cause the domestic industry to suffer serious injury. This we all know that there is the time. I think kuna kipindi hapo nyuma tulikuwa tunasema bidhaa za Kichina zina, of course ni kweli zilikuja zikashusha sana uzalishaji wa bidhaa zetu, tukaanza kutumia maplastiki, tukaacha zile natural zetu. This with regards to this, kwa hiyo taifa nchi member state is allowed to impose the safeguard so that to waweze kuvilinda viwanda vyao vya ndani. The third one is appropriate remedy should be no more restrictive than necessary to eliminate the serious injury caused by the import. This means that you put the remedy, so it has not to be it has to be not more restrictive, but it has to be necessary to eliminate the serious injury caused by that import. Just to eliminate that injury that is caused by that import, not to restrict the importation of the product. As we know, there are some who can, the issue of NTB that we have discussed earlier. We said that some of the NTBs, they are just, you wanted to protect, you just want to restrict, not the big issue that you have, you are restricting, you are putting that NTB. Thank you. We can discuss on this honestly so that we can go on.
Maybe we talk a little bit about trade remedy because it's one of the issues which is very complicated in a way to to apply. Because when for example you look, can you go the Josephine? Can you go the other the previous one? Huh? Yes. When we are talking of trade remedies, is where the country now, they are saying, actually I have liberalized or I have removed tariff, but because of the liberalization, I'm experienced surge of import of certain products in my country. Maybe the duty were 10%, you decided to make it 0. And you see a lot of import of that particular product, which actually has a serious injury to your industry, in such a way that maybe your industry or infant industry is about to close. So what you're supposed to do, you have to either use safeguard measures, or if you establish that maybe it is because of the low price, it's not unfairly low price. Why is it unfairly low price? Maybe the other country is trying to undercut the production to your country. You know, some country, for example, they may think, for example, if you wanted to control Tanzania market, what you are supposed to do, I'm just giving an example, like a cement. They say, okay, let's do what we call predatory marketing, where they will bring product at very low price until they compete with their product. They continue for some time until they capture the market, they monopolize the market. Once your industry is dead, then they will start raising price. So what they do, they will come up with a price which is lower than cost of production in their country. Because you are exporting, they say, okay, maybe the factory is Pakistan. You go to Pakistan, you find cement is being sold maybe 50 kilo of cement, maybe $2. They come to your country, they sell at $1. And you wonder why they are doing that. So they will do it for sometimes, then once you don't have any competing, they will start increasing the price. That is where you're talking of a fairly low price. Either that price can be lower than what they are selling in their domestic market, or is lower than production cost. Another area which you need to look is where you can come up with the countervailing duties. You look where some countries provide subsidy. Some countries are very export oriented. They say if you export this product to any other country, we'll give you subsidy. Maybe if you export certain ton, we are going to give you this amount of money. So what you are supposed to establish is to look the subsidies they are being given, then you come up with a duty which is equivalent to the subsidies they were given. And this is indeed a lot of research from the government to establish those areas. That's why I say it's not very simple thing for government to do. You need a lot of research. You need to have a very competent authority which can establish that country X, maybe on product X, is doing dumping or is providing subsidy, or product X actually the import has unnecessarily surge or increase and is bringing injury to our infant industry. That is one of the trade remedy issues. And this is something our government needs to come up. I think maybe Professor can help, but also the challenge, you find that we don't have a competent authorities our countries which can do that. Because you need to have a competent authorities which can establish that. Either maybe it is called one deal with the competition or what, which is supposed to deal with this issue of trade remedy. Maybe Professor unataka kuongeza kidogo.
I think that is well covered there, Adrian. Maybe we just need to know, as business people, that we complain a lot about China in particular. And sometimes we think China is dumping goods. Now, for you to get remedy in the event that China is dumping goods, is that you must have an authority that can investigate and confirm that dumping is indeed taking place. Now, in EAC, we don't have, none of the countries has an investigation authority. I think Kenya has, but it's not very strong. I think in Africa, I think it's only Egypt and South Africa, Mauritius. So I think that is a loophole that the private sector may want to push the governments to think about. Because as we open up, we are going to be affected by these issues. There's going to be a lot of dumping, which will affect your businesses. There are governments, particularly in Europe, that are subsidizing farmers, and that is going to affect your business. And so we need institutions to handle these issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Maybe anyone has a comment, suggestion? But all this, kama tunavyoviona ni katika mkataba wa African Continental.
Asante sana, Justin. Actually, I was looking at this, the third remedy, whereby the government injects a subsidy. And it reminds me of the joint remission, which is actually very practical in the ESC. The problem with joint remission is that, okay, you are getting remedy when you are importing your raw materials, you manufacture, but if you are selling your product, your finished product to the member state, you say member state or partner state?
Partner state.
The partner state. Your product is subjected to full duty. Now, in this case of subsidy, when the government applies a subsidy to a certain manufacturing, let's say it's garments, for example, and that garment, if I'm selling it into the state, this of the CFTA, state partner. Yeah, if I'm selling that to the state partner, how is that going to be treated in terms of duty? Because it seems there is a and that they are going to it's going to trigger a sort of unfair competition with the same products manufactured in the same sense, whereby the same are not enjoying subsidies. You in a card. Lakini ya mwisho, actually previously Adrian had introduced a very interesting subject, lakini sidhani kama ni part of this. I was looking, sijui kama kuna watu wa bandari hapa, na ukiangalia most of the things ikifika mwisho wanasema sasa you private sector you have to push it. There are things we have pushed it for 30 years, man. Hivi hakuna, sijui kama kuna authority wa bandari hapa. Miaka 30 iliyopita nikiwa kidogo kijana mdogo, tumekuwa tukiwaambia bandari kwamba you guys acheni na hii mambo ya advalorem, tumieni box rate kwenye rate zenu na mtafaidi. Hawakuweza kuelewa hicho kitu mpaka leo. Today Mombasa wanatupiga bao because wako kwenye box rates. Sisi una import container 200, wanaangalia value yako ya CIF value yako, then they charge your work rate on that. Sawa. 0.5 mpaka 1% mpaka 1.5, inategemea na product ambayo unaagiza. Ile ina discourage sana hawa tunaoita linked, land linked or whatever law, they shun away. Lakini tujikuta tuna biashara nyingi sana za Zambia, za Malawi, lakini wanakwenda Beira, whatever. Mombasa ni full. Hata northern sector ya Tanzania inatumia Mombasa zaidi kuliko Dar es Salaam na Tanga. It is because of that, kwa sababu mfanya biashara akiona mahali saving atakimbilia pale, because hiyo ndio inampush kwenye market. Sasa wenzetu hawajaona hiyo kama fursa, and now we are talking of 54 countries, nyingine zinazidi kuongezeka majirani kutumia fursa za bandari zetu. Recently too, niwape mfano mzuri. Wakati serikali ya Tanzania Mama Samia walipopunguza zile road tolls za gari za Rwanda, believe me, gari zinazoteremka Rwanda kwenda Mombasa kila siku zinapita Arusha ni magari mengi sana, na zinaenda Mombasa kuchukua container, zinaenda Rwanda. Why not coming to Dar es Salaam? Sasa tumeondoa ushuru wa barabara au tumepunguza ushuru wa barabara, we should also do the same kwenye port ili tuweze kupata zile benefit. Lakini wenzetu sidhani kama wako hapa, and I don't know what stage they are going to be engaged, waweze kufunguka. Ila mtatuambia kwamba pigeni kelele private sector, tutapiga kelele till cows come in, lakini bado ni shida. Hiyo ndio shida. Kwa hiyo sijui hawa sasa watakuwa engaged, hawa authorities watakuwa engaged hiyo wakati gani? Tunaongea habari ya atomic, tunaongea habari ya TRI, watu wa plant, tunaongea wakati watu wa chemical, chemist, na gari ndio hawa, na railway pia wana improve, lakini vitu tunatakiwa vijue. At the end of the day ndio unaenda kule unaambia sisi hatujapata andiko, bado tuko kwenye mfumo wa zamani, so we have to apply what is written. Hiyo andiko imeandikwa sana.
Professor?
Yeah, I think we still have to tell the private sector the same thing. To just look, because that is from experience. You see, in some countries, the private sector is extremely powerful. You read about the second-hand clothing lobby group in the US. It's so powerful that our countries are not able to withstand their lobbying. So the best we can tell the private sector is to find ways of lobbying, maybe getting members of parliament to lobby on their behalf, maybe electing members of parliament from among the private sector. Because there's no other way unless the private sector becomes the government. So you have to keep on lobbying. Yeah. So now on the first question on the subsidies. Subsidies distort trade. It creates a ground that is not level for everyone. And that is why there's this provision for countries to invoke when there's need. So the only thing that is required is that you have to go out of your way to prove that a country is giving subsidies, that a country is dumping, that a country is doing something that is causing injury to your country. And that is why we need the institutions, because as individual business people, it may be difficult for you to prove some of these things. Now, there are lots of other provisions. You may know that there are lots of issues around the special economic zones at the AfCFTA level. And actually, the main issue is arising from a contestation from Tanzania in the Horn of Africa about how to treat goods that come from special economic zones. Yes, so EPZs are in the special economic zones. There are different varieties. So how do you treat goods coming from the EPZ in terms of the rules of origin? Should those goods be considered originating? Should they be considered non-originating? Now, it's something that the Continental has been unable to resolve. So the ministers gave directives on how countries should proceed, but not much has, been attained. Because those who are outside the special zones think that the ones in the special zones already have some privileges, and allowing them to enjoy the preferential terms of trade is to give them double privilege. But there are others who think that countries have the special economic zones for a purpose, to create jobs, to earn foreign exchange. And so they should not be penalized. So I think that is the same debate. But the beauty of this agreement is that it provides a provision for you to invoke those provisions. When a country is in need, you only need to prove that you are in need. Thank you.
Maybe also to add, after Professor has talking about the special economic zone, we need to differentiate duty remission scheme and the special economic zone. Duty remission scheme under EAC, it's because we are talking of the customs union territory, that you can import goods and duty which is reduced. For example, the input was supposed to be charged import duty of 10%, and you say as a manufacturer, I think that input is not available in EAC, and it is very important input for me to manufacture product which I want to export outside the EAC, because EAC now we are talking as a single custom territory. So the challenge you find that while yourself we are enjoying that because it must be gazetted, company X is importing this product to produce this certain quantity for export. You can do it if it's not unified, because we have two types of duty remission scheme, for the regional and for the country specific. For the regional is where all companies across EAC are allowed to apply. For example, sugar for industrial use. If we are producing any confectionery or beverages, you can import sugar. Instead of paying 100 import duty, you can import 10%. You produce your product, you can sell it all across EAC because everyone is allowed to do that. But if it's a country specific now, that's where the challenge. Because company X is allowed to import, other actually they are not allowed until they apply in their own country. But I think the challenge is where you are telling the company, which, for example, the input has been reduced from 10% to just 0. But that input only account maybe 30% of the cost of the final product. And you are telling once you produce the final product and you sell in the EAC, you are supposed to pay full duty, which is 25%. That is wrong. But I think that is wrong. Second, the country which is supposed actually to claim the duty is not the country where you are exporting, or the country which is importing the product, but the country which is exporting, because it's the one which forgone that duty. Because if for example, it's Tanzania give you duty remission, it is Tanzania which was denied that 10%, and it's not the Rwanda where you're exporting. But now, what happened actually is because of the unlevel playing field, where the manufacturer in the other country will say, as we didn't apply for duty remission, this product X in Tanzania applied for duty remission, and they're coming to sell here, we can't compete with them. So the Council of Ministers sit and actually they come up with a simple way. Say, okay, to deal with this one, you will pay duty as if that product is not coming from EAC. In other way, they are saying, if you apply duty remission, which is country specific, your goods does not qualify as originating from EAC. That's what they are saying. So under Africa Continental Free Trade Area, that is not a challenge. Duty remission is not a challenge, because here we are talking of free trade area, not customs. Until we reach a customs where we are going to apply the same tariff for Africa, one country can say, okay, Tanzania, we have agreed the duty for product X is 10, but Tanzania is applying 0. So we can't allow their product to come in my country. Because, for example, for you, you don't know what is duty rate for Nigeria importing dirty raw material from the rest of the world. But you will accept that product because you are the free trade area. Maybe in Tanzania, in EAC, you find that input is 10%, but in Nigeria it's 0. You see that's why duty remission does not apply, it's not a problem in Africa Continental Free Trade Area. But export a special economic zone like APZ, where you enjoy a lot of tax relief apart from duty. Maybe you don't pay other taxes. They think, and actually when you read it seriously on APZ, a special economic zone such as the APZ is in different custom territory. It can be Tanzania, but the Revenue Authority consider it as outside of its bond because they get a lot of relief. That's why even if, for example, you wanted to sell, you are in APZ, and actually you want to sell in your own country, Revenue Authority has to allow you that, okay, you are supposed only to sell 80% of your turnover out of the year. And you have to pay tax, all taxes, which was forgone on that particular 20%.
For the case of AfCFTA, what happened?
Pardon?
For the case of CFTA,
For case
of product from EPZ or
I think it's one what the professor was saying, they have not agreed. And I think it, and very interesting, although EAC was negotiating all things as a bloc, in this area, I think each country has its position. Tanzania is saying no, for APZ, we are not accepting. If something is in the APZ, for us, we think it is not supposed to qualify. The other country, I think Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, they are okay. They say, okay, if someone check and they meet the rule of origin, I think it should be enjoy preferential treatment in Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And I think it's one of the issues we need to look when it comes to special economic zone or APZ. Do you think we are more advanced compared with the other countries where we think that if we allow, we'll be able to benefit? Or if we allow, we'll have more challenges of product coming and competing with us? That is what we need to look, because you need to be export oriented to support issue of special economic zone. But if you are looking in the other way by comparing with the other country, that also can be a challenge. But sometimes I ask myself, if product is coming from Zambia, are you sure it's not coming from APZ? For country, for example, Tanzania is in SADC. If you are importing from South Africa, Zambia, to say Zimbabwe, if you establish that that product is not coming from APZ, because currently APZ is different from, I mean, in special economic zone is different from the old system where we think it must be in one location or something like that. Country can decide it actually to gazette it. Just one industry somewhere there and say, okay, you will enjoy APZ status or special. It is matter of they say, okay, this product, this industry is very strategic in terms of export. Let gazette it and start exporting. So also it is a big issue where you need to start looking the 52 or 54 countries and establish this product is not coming from special economic zone. This is, I don't know.
Because you don't have any strong institutions.
Yeah, that can be one challenge. But also, even EAC, you know, for example, when we started EAC and the Customs Union, we had the biggest challenges because Kenya was very advanced in terms of the economic everything. And for them, export processing zone, they were built in order to capture markets, not China, Europe only, but also Tanzania and Uganda by that time. So when we came up with the customs union, and we say, okay, now the customs territory is for 3 countries, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. We start facing challenge from Kenya. Because we say, those products which are coming from APC are not supposed to be transferred Tanzania as export or Uganda. Kenya could not understand that. They say, you are bad. They say, no, that was the previous. Now we are talking of the customs. We are treating your domestic market where I say APC cannot go to domestic Kenya market, cannot even go to Tanzania, cannot even go to Uganda, because we are now customs territory. So it was big challenge for Kenya. And they say, now we are saying until you only 20% you can purchase from the APC. We say yes. And it becomes very biggest challenge because you find, for example, ABC, the company is from APC, the other company, they are not from APC. And they say, this company from APC is enjoying a lot of tax relief, which we are not enjoying. We can't compete with them in this market. Let them export if they are exporting to Mauritius, that is okay. But in this market, we are saying no. So it was very tricky. It reached even a stage where they are saying, let's actually expand the 20% which we can offload in the domestic market, because the market has increased. Not when you are talking of domestic market now, you are not only talking of Kenya, you are talking of Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and even maybe the DRC is coming now. They are saying, let's expand the threshold from 20 to 30 or 35. Other countries, they are saying no. Because we are facing the same challenge from the company which are not in the APC. They say no, we can't compete with them because they are enjoying a lot of tariff relief. So even EAC, we don't have a policy as of now on how to guide the special economic zone. And we have a lot of them, differently they are using national policy. But they are customs union, I think they are supposed to be considered as free port, the article. Because the APZ is a different article where you are talking only export outside the customs territory. And EAC actually, although we talk of export, if you are selling your product in Kenya, actually it's supposed to be considered as transfer, not export. You consider it as export only because you want to claim domestic tax like VAT, excise duty. Because when it comes to domestic taxes, they use it for destination. When the product is being consumed, is where the tax is supposed to be used. So if there is any VAT input you have used in Tanzania and your product is being transferred to Kenya, you will consider it as export in order to claim the VAT you have used to produce that particular.
Thank you, Akia. We were supposed to wind up this program at 4 o'clock. It's almost time. Is anyone go without speaking?
Mine is just an update from my fellow friend there who was asking about the Uganda thing. There is an initiative which is actually going, ambayo ilikuwa wanafanya tafiti kuanzia mwaka jana mwezi wa 8, na ilikuwa inaratibiwa na CTI, Confederation of Tanzania Industry. Hiyo ni kuangalia hizo customs challenges na bandari issues, na wakafanya tafiti wakaipresenti Disemba na Januari, ambayo ilikuwa pale Serena hoteli, na one of the issue ambayo iliibuka ni vitu ambavyo umevizungumzia, na mojawapo ya vitu ambavyo pia vimefanyiwa kazi kwa haraka nimeviona, nadhani tunakumbuka kampuni iliyokuwa inaendesha shughuli za bandari pale, baada ya kufanya yale mabadiliko, vitu ambavyo ni maboresho yaliyotokana na hiyo tafiti na huo mkutano ambao ulikuwa unaendelea, lakini bado wanaendelea kufanya several meetings ambazo zina address changamoto tofauti za customs, ikiwemo kwenye mipaka, lakini pia na bandari katika kuboresha. Na mojawapo uzuri wa ule mkutano pia, mikutano yote ilihudhuriwa na nchi ambazo ni majirani zetu, mfano Kongo walikuja kwenye hiyo mikutano kupresent issues ambazo zinapatikana kwenye masuala ya logistical, custom bonds, na leo Zambia, Malawi, wote walihudhuria na wakaeleza issues zao na zikachukuliwa, na nadhani kuna maboresho mengi ambayo yameshaanza kufanyiwa kazi katika kutekeleza kuhakikisha kwamba all the neighbor businesses zinarudi kwa Tanzania. Kwa hiyo ni hayo tu mafupi.
Asante sana. This is just the part.
Naona changamoto bado.
Samahani, wengine basi jitambulishe. Wengine kaweza tukaweka kwa majina.
Okay. Naitwa Ezekiel kutoka TPSA. Na kuna changamoto kubwa, muunganiko wa changamoto kutoka kwenye bandari hadi kwenye transport and logistics sector. Kuangalia tu bandari peke yake haitoshi. Mzee amesema pale magari mengi kutoka nje kuja kufanya kazi Tanzania. Hiyo yote inachagizwa na bandari na sheria zetu ndani. Kwa kikao kama hiki tulikuwa tunahitaji watu wa serikali sana wahudhurie, sababu ni moja ya changamoto kubwa. Unakuta sasa hivi ukiangalia bandari yetu, gari nyingi zinazo trade hapa na namba nchi za jirani kama Rwanda na Zambia kwa trade ya sasa. Yote ni nini? Ni shida ya bandari na pia serikali. Kuna advance tax limit ya saba na ITC kwa kila gari kwa mwaka. Inasababisha watu wanasajili kampuni nje. Mtu ana magari 400 atalipa bei gani kwa mwaka? Sio faida. Kwa pamoja nayo inabidi ya workshop kama hizi serikali na wale wadau hao ndio watapeleka mizigo nje, hao ndio wanahusika na kila kitu. Kutoka hapo inakuwa hizo ushauri kwa wafanyabiashara, ni kwa wafanyabiashara. Mambo ni tofauti. Wako mbali sana, wanakuja shambani, wanachukua mzigo, wanaenda na process ambazo sisi wenyewe hapa Tanzania tunaweza tukafanya hizo process kama final product, tukatengeneza ajira hapa kwetu, tukakuza uchumi wetu. Kwa hii ni platform nzuri kwa private sector. Kujaribu hii serikali ipo kuchochea haya yafanyike, sio waoga. Inawezekana inaomba unakutana na Mnyarwanda shambani na nunua mzigo bado uko shambani, wakati private sector mnaweza kufanya kitu na tukakuza uchumi wetu. Asante.
Asante Zekia.
Nataka niongezee.
Yeye sio mfanyabiashara. Hapana. You are advocating for them, so you are part of them.
Labda hiyo issue ya transit. Tena kabidi niongeze Kiswahili. Hiyo issue ya transit na issue ya kuhusu registration ya magari. So issue ya bandari. Ni issue ya tax. Ni issue ya serikali kusema. Kwa sababu haingii akilini Tanzania kutoka distance ya kutoka bandarini mpaka mpakani na Rwanda ni kilomita nyingi sana. Mtu wa transit ambaye ana akili angetakiwa aje aregister gari yake hapa Tanzania kama transit kuliko kuiregistia Rwanda, kwa sababu kilomita ya kutoka Rwanda mpaka moja mpaka mwingine ni ndogo sana. Unaelewa? Na transit kutokana na zile tunazozungumzia surrender, kutokana na zile kilomita anatoka bandarini mpaka Rwanda atakuwa amelipa pesa nyingi sana hapa katikati. You get it? Because of the distance of kilometers. Lakini kwa Rwanda hata kama inaenda DRC, Rwanda inapita kidogo sana. Lakini mimi nafikiri problem moja tunayoface hapa Tanzania ni kule kufikiria kila kitu unatakiwa uchaji tax fulani. Yaani kitu kimoja unachaji zaidi ya mara 5 au mara 6 mara 7. Unachaji kuna taksi. Yaani wanakusema kitu kimoja. Lakini wangeangalia kwamba hivi magari yakija yakarejestiwa Tanzania inaleta impact gani kubwa. Kwa hiyo taksi nyingine inakuwa ni mambo mengine, services, watu wanaajiriwa, unapata taksi huko. Kwa hiyo angalia hivyo vitu, wanafanya analysis, wanaangalia sema magari mangapi yako ya transit hapa. Yako 100,000. Haya, tukipiga taksi hapo tunapata ngapi mara moja? Wanapiga nyingine. Kumbe walikuwa washapiga nyingine. Kwa hiyo mtu anaanza kufanya analysis sasa kwamba hivi nikiregister gari yangu Rwanda. Kwa hiyo Tanzania anaweza katoka hapa akaenda karegister Rwanda. You get it? Lakini sehemu kubwa anayoplay ni Tanzania. Kwa hivyo vitu nafikiri policy makers hawaviangalii. Lakini private sector ndio unatakiwa unawafungua macho, unawaambia hii ingekuwa imeregistriwa hapo, ikaajiri dereva wa hapa, dereva kalipa labda fee, ukafanya calculation ni kodi ngapi sasa hivi unapata kupeana na zamani. Some sort of analysis ambazo tunatakiwa tunafanya sisi private sector. Yes. Lakini sasa wao wanafanya partial analysis, wanaangalia tu registered cars za transit au can get money pale wamemaliza. Hivyo vitu vingine baba anasema sisi tunadili na nani bana. Hivyo ni vitu vya sisi private sector ku advocate, kwa sababu haingiki akilini nchi ina distance juu kilomita 20 alafu inakuwa na transit magari mengi, wakati wewe una distance ya kuplay alafu una transit. Kwa hiyo ndio vitu vya kuangalia. Nafikiri ndio tuko tunaangalia. Lakini pia kuhusu bandari, kuhusu fee, kuna agreement moja iko very interesting inaitwa Trade Facilitation Agreement, WTO. Iko very clear. Lakini what happened, kwa sababu Tanzania ni among these developed country wanaruhusiwa kuapply some of the article na nyingine hawapply. Lakini wao wanapozungumzia fee hazitakiwi ziwe za Tanzania Revenue Authority za code. All trade facilitation agents, kama unazungumzia TBS yaeke pale aseme mimi fee yangu ni 1, 2, 3. Kama unazungumzia sijui nani sijui LAT aeke pale aseme kwenye transport kuna license kuna nini. So they are supposed to be transparent, they are supposed to be published na usijulikane. Lakini the very important one, wanatakiwa ziwe equivalent to the service they are rendered. Hazitakiwi ziwe kwenye program kwenye nini. So mkiweza kupush kwamba okay, we are pushing so that Tanzania or EAC can actually implement those articles, that will be a very benefit for the private sector in EAC. Na watu wanaotakiwa kupush ni hawa wa kwenye National Trade Facilitation Committee. So that committee is supposed to be advocating for the reform kwenye mambo ya trade facilitation. The way the committee is at national level, the chair is they have 2 chairs. The chair is supposed to come from the ministry of which deal with the trade, but also the apex board of the private sector. I think Tanzania is supposed to be Tanzania Private Sector Foundation. But that you are supposed to bring your issues. The national, they will sit, they will look, and some of the issues actually, they are EAC, they are regional issues. Because some of the issues have escalated into the regional. Some of the issues actually country cannot change until they go to EAC and say, okay, maybe we have some challenge here, we need to resolve. That's why we have also regional committee for trade facilitation. So it depends how the private sector is pushing for the reform in the trade facilitation. You need also to look those documents. Some of the documents, I was talking to that guy there, saying in Tanzania most of the time you are being told the system is down. And you're wondering why the system is down. Because we are putting a lot of documents in the system. Unnecessary. You can have, for example, 3 documents, they are talking of one thing. You say, why can't you capture the same information in one document? I say, it's very challenging. Eh? For example, if you look at the export, cost of export in Tanzania, although we are very close to the ocean, in terms of trade facilitation, is higher than the cost of export from Rwanda. And the ocean is just there. Why? You find you have a lot of documents. Export, you need to wait for export document permit, you need to go to registration. We find like the other day we were doing some coffee sector. Europe, they know exactly Tanzania has no issue of nuclear radiation. But someone is coming and say, no, you're exporting, you must come up with this license. You go to Europe, they put that document away because they are not interested. But you as the exporting country, you are saying, no, you have to make sure that this product does not have any radiation. And those countries, they know for sure Tanzania has no issue when it comes to radiation. They know where the radiation is. But for you, I say, you are defending who now? That's what, and that authority is in Arusha. Exporting from here. At one time, at one time, they had only one account. They say you must pay in CRDP, full stop. Yes, we need to. Someone is importing from Kenya and say, no, you have to go and pay to the CRDP bank account. So those are challenges which we need to talk.
Mimi sikatai kwamba private sector, yes, tunayo nafasi and we have go to the organizations to talk, lakini problem sio hiyo. Problem ni nini? Hawatusikilizi. There is that school of thought inayofundisha kwamba private sector ni wezi. Sasa kumsikiliza mwizi, it has never happened. That's why nimekwambia 30 years tumepiga kelele hapa kuhusu changes kwenye bandari, lakini hakuna mtu anasikiliza. Labda tu mbinguni. That's what I was saying. Hii mikutano mikubwa kama hii ya kwenu hii, you call these people. Tukae hapa tusemane, tuambiane. If we want to move together, let's do this and this and tusaidiane. Tunawasaidia mawazo. They are not thinking business. Kuna biashara kubwa sana hapa. Lakini hawaoni biashara. Because mwisho wa mwezi, muamala unasoma, mshahara unaingia. Lakini kwa private that's not the case. You have to deliver. Lakini kwenye serikali ndio kuna shida hiyo. When it comes to big missions, forums like this, hebu waje tukae tuwaambie wapi wanakwama na wapi wanatukwamisha, kwa sababu we have in Mombasa, tunalinda bandari ya Mombasa. Why? It's cheaper. Na ndio maana nikatoa mfano wa magari ya Rwanda mengi. Baada ya kupunguziwa road toll, wameunda Tanzania ndio njia fupi ya kwenda Mombasa. Kulipa container zao instead of coming here. Kama na huku tungepunguza, ina maana tungepata faida mara mbili. Gari nyingi zingelipa road toll, maana tunapata road toll, lakini pia wangetumia bandari yetu. Lakini sasa wanatutumia upande mwingine, kwa sababu mama amekaa na kaka pale amepunguza ile, umefika ile road toll. Sasa who is the loser? Ni sisi, barabara zetu zinaharibika. Unaona? Kwa hiyo sisi tunaomba na tunazidi kuomba forums kubwa kama hizi ambazo ni nzuri, tunaongea mambo ya msingi ya maisha ya nchi. Let those people waje tukae hapa tusemane. Kama Atomic wana akaunti moja tu waambie. Wafadhali wa mshukuru Magufuli ameleta mambo ya control number.
Adrian.
Yes sir.
Nadhani ulipokuwa kijana umetoka chuo kikuu uliingia private sector.
Moja kwa moja.
Na unajua tulichokuwa tunafanya kiwa CTI. I want to assure you, mimi sasa hivi na zeeka. nimezeekea private sector. The government of Tanzania mwanzo, kama nilivyosema, kazi walikuwa wanatujua sisi ni wezi, na huwezi kukaa naye mezani au umeenda kuomba au umeenda kutafuta service wakakupa. 1988 TPSF ilianzishwa, akaweko mzee Msiba, I hope everybody know it. Alipiga kelele mpaka akapata urafiki na rais wa nchi, tukazungumza na rais wa nchi ana kwa ana, zikapunguzwa mambo mengi kidogo. Sasa profesa alikuwa anasema wataendelea kutuambia tupige ngoma. Ngoma tunapiga, inapasuka, tunawamba nyingine, tunaendelea. The problem ambayo kuna wizara zingine ambazo zinatakiwa ziwepo hapa zikasikiliza. Kwa mfano, kuna fomu ambazo zilikuwa zimetengenezwa toka 60s huko, na hizo 0%. Zile haziwezi zikabadilishwa mpaka ziende sehemu sehemu husika, maybe bungeni, maybe kwenye kamati mahususi, ndipo taasisi zikapunguza au zikaondoa ile. Sasa kuna wizara ambayo inahusika per se na sheria za nchi hii. Hata ukiwaita waje wizara ya sheria, kama kuna mtu amekutana na mtu wa wizara ya sheria kwenye forum kama hizi, ananiambia hawaji, sababu wanajua kwamba tutatoa challenges. Zile karatasi ambazo fomu zilizoandikwa kwa kisheria wazipeleke kwa mwanasheria mkuu ili ziweze zikajadiliwa huko bungeni, zikaondoshwa. They don't care. Wizara ya sheria, benki kuu, kama mmekutana na mtu wa benki kuu yupo, they won't care. TRA wakija ni baada ya Adrian kupiga kelele sana, na akija atakuwepo hapa nusu saa. Na ama kama akaja, anakuja mtu ambaye hana even authority ya kusajili hata kupropose, anakuja anakaa anasikiliza then anaondoka. Sasa wizara ya biashara tunakutana nao kwa sababu ni wadau wetu, wao ni wasikivu, lakini they cannot move forward kwa sababu wizara zingine zinawapa shida. Wizara ya foreign affairs sasa hivi ndipo wanakutana, lakini zamani walikuwa kila mmoja anafanya vyake. Unaona trade mission inakuja hapa, wizara ya viwanda hawajui, lakini foreign affairs wamealika delegation kutoka nje, wamekuja hapa nchini. Sasa foreign affairs wanaalika wafanyabiashara, wakati foreign affairs they are not supposed kutuita sisi wizara ya viwanda na biashara ndio watuite. Inapofika maeneo mazito ambayo challenges hizi anazosema kazi hapa ni ambazo tulianza nazo miaka na miaka, sasa hivi kidogo tunapata nafuu. Bandari walipoona na serikali ikaona clearing and forwarding wanapata hela kwenye sehemu zile nzuri, wakaleta TASAC. Wakati walipoleta TASAC sasa, zile sehemu nzuri za clearing and forwarding kupata hela zao, wakaachia clearing and forwarding skeleton. Fisi anakula mbuba mpaka anashiba. Watu tukaanza kupiga kelele, TASAC, why TASAC? Kama serikali inataka kufanya biashara, kwa nini siseme? They did it. Tumesuguana na TASAC, unakumbuka mpaka sasa hivi TASAC wameliachia machache. There was no creation of TASAC. Kama ulishaifuta na SACCO, why TASAC? Kwa hiyo niwaashue kwamba tunaendelea, profesa, mapambano tunaendelea naye. Hatutakaa kimya, ila wasikivu wizara zingine ambazo ni muhimu kwa kutusikiliza month by month. Yani face to face. Hawaji. They don't come. Ofisi ya waziri mkuu, ukiita ofisi ya waziri mkuu hutamwona unless kuna jambo la kisera, mnaitwa kwenda kufanya validation ambayo wao kwa sababu ni kazi yao wanatutaka tupige rubber stamp kwamba private sector tulikuwepo. Wao hapo utawaona, lakini kwa masuala ya private sector very few and sijui nisemeje, tuzeekee hapo, tutaendelea kupiga kelele. Sasa sisi ni wezi sawa, lakini mishahara wanapata kutoka wapi? Hatuenda zake.
Laja mimi namlaumu tu. Wewe unakubalije eti mtu anafanya regulator na hapo anafanya hiyo biashara? Sasa tunazungumzia hao. Unaenda mahakamani, what is the problem? Na ukienda mahakamani hata uchukui siku mbili tatu unashinda hiyo kesi. You can't be regulator at the same time you are doing the same business. Ilikuwa rahisi tu. Lakini sasa dada anasema tunaogopa kwenda mahakamani bwana. Ukiadvocate ukishindwa kama kitu unajua kinalibu business. Nenda mahakamani. Kule wengesema hii kweli hii sasa ni wrong. You can't be regulator at the same time competing with the other people you are competing. Sasa na EURA ana regulate alafu mwambie aanze kufungua vitu vya petroli. Na nyinyi mnakubali. Jamani, tumekuwa na discussion nzuri sana, lakini nafikiri Dar es Salaam kati ya kitu ambacho unasikia mnakiogopa ni traffic. Traffic jam is one of the cost of doing business. Japokuwa mtaki nani. Kwa hiyo tunaomba tuishie hapa leo, tukutane kesho, lakini kabla hujaondoka kuna tea pale, unywe chai yako alafu tuonane kesho. Lakini pia kwa yule ambaye hajaandika jina tunaomba andike pale jina. Hidaya tunaanza kesho saa ngapi? Saa 3 kamili au saa 2:30? Saa 3. Saa 3 kamili sharp. Kesho ndo tunaangalia mpaka na zile CTI, concession, tarifu ofa yetu ikoje, ni bidhaa gani kama alikuwa anasema PSR. Tujue zile 90% ambazo tunataka kufanya liberalization haraka ni zipi, zile 7 ambazo tunasema tuta liberalize kwa muda mrefu, na zile 3% ambazo hatuta liberalize kabisa ni zipi. Ni challenge pia, lakini when you are talking of free trade area, unasema sector also is trying to protect your industry. The other country which maybe you think more advanced and your infantry industry will protect. Kwa hiyo nawashukuru na Mungu awabariki.
Thank you.